We've got a whole stack of sources here
Yeah.
that compare how these two just giants in the industry
Right.
really approach getting us as consumers to buy their products.
Yeah, it's a classic battle, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got two companies at the top of their game, but with totally different approaches.
Yeah. And it is interesting how they're both trying to solve the same problem, right?
Right.
Convincing you that their phone is the one you need.
Yeah, that's the core of it.
Yeah.
But how they get there, that's the interesting part.
That's the really interesting part. Yeah. Okay, so first up, branding.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. Apple and Samsung have completely different vibes. Apple's got that sleek, minimalist, almost, oh, we're so cool, we don't even need a tried thing going on.
Yeah, it's that less is more philosophy.
Yeah.
Think about their logo. Simple product design, the way they announce new releases. It's all very controlled, exclusive.
Yeah, like you're joining a special club when you buy an iPhone.
Exactly.
Do you think that really works on people?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Apple has cultivated this image of aspirational branding.
Okay.
I mean, they're not just selling a phone. They're selling an idea, a lifestyle.
Wow.
And people are willing to pay a premium for that.
I guess that explains the lines, the lines of people waiting for the new iPhone.
Yeah.
It's a phone, but they've managed to make it feel like so much more.
Exactly. And that's where the walled garden concept comes in.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how once you buy one Apple product,
Oh, yeah.
you kind of get sucked in?
You get sucked in. Yeah, I started with an iPod, then an iPhone, and now I've got the whole shebang, MacBook, AirPods, you name it.
Right.
But it is really convenient how it all works together.
Right. That seamless integration is key.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so hard to leave once you're in.
It is hard to leave.
Yeah.
So what about Samsung?
Well, Samsung,
What are they doing?
they're doing something totally different.
Okay.
Accessibility choice, pushing the boundaries of technology.
Okay.
They flood the market with tons of phones, from budget-friendly to top-of-the-line with all the bells and whistles.
They do.
Yeah.
I mean, folding phones.
I know.
That's pretty wild.
It's wild, and they make sure you know about it.
Yeah.
Their marketing is much more direct,
Okay.
feature-driven. Remember those commercials where they made fun of Apple for removing the headphone jack?
Oh, yeah. I remember those.
Right.
They weren't afraid to call out the competition.
They were not afraid
Yeah.
at all.
So it's like two different paths to the same goal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Reaching the consumer and convincing them that their phone is the best.
Exactly. And both are working,
Yeah.
which is fascinating.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, is one better than the other?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And that actually leads us perfectly to our next point, pricing.
Okay.
Because how they price their products also tells you a lot about their marketing strategy.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Apple,
Yeah.
they're expensive.
They are.
How come
Premium pricing for sure.
Yeah, and it's almost like they're saying, we're worth it with that price tag.
Right. Like they're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Their premium pricing strategy reinforces that idea of exclusivity and luxury. They rarely offer discounts.
Right.
That would dilute the brand image.
Yeah, it's not just about making a profit. It's a deliberate choice to position themselves that way.
Yeah, they're catering to a specific audience.
Right.
Who values that premium experience and is willing to pay for it.
Right. Samsung, on the other hand,
Totally different game.
totally different game.
Right.
They have phones at like every price point imaginable.
I know it's about choice and accessibility.
Yeah.
Capturing wider market share.
Right.
Making tech available to everyone no matter the budget.
Okay. And they're not afraid to use discounts and trade-in offers to sweeten the deal either.
Right. Make those upgrades and new features more enticing.
So if Apple is about exclusivity, Samsung is about appealing to the masses.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it. Yeah.
It's about understanding your target audience and what motivates them.
Exactly.
And this makes me think about their advertising.
Okay.
Apple's ads are like mini movies, very emotional and focused on how their products enhance your life.
Like those iconic silhouettes dancing with their iPods.
Yeah.
Or the holiday commercials that tug at your heartstrings.
Yeah, they're masters of storytelling. It's not just about the features.
Right.
It's about the feeling you get
Exactly.
when you use their product.
They want you to see their products as tools for creativity, connection, self-expression.
Whereas Samsung's ads are a lot more in your face.
Yeah.
It's all about specs and the latest technology.
Remember those ads where they showed off their foldable phones and compared their camera specs to the iPhone?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty bold.
They're not afraid to be direct and highlight their competitive advantages. It's like two completely different approaches to getting your attention.
Yeah.
Do you think one is more effective than the other?
I don't know. I think it depends on you.
Yeah.
What resonates with you as a consumer? Do you prefer being swept away by a beautiful story
Right.
or impressed by the latest tech?
It is interesting to think about how they tailor their messages to appeal to different people.
Yeah, and it all comes back to that core question we talked about earlier. How do they convince you that their phone is the one you need?
Right. So they've established their brand, they've priced their products strategically, they've bombarded us with advertising what's next in their arsenal of marketing tactics.
Okay, well, that's where the concept of the ecosystem comes in.
Okay.
And this is where those philosophical differences between Apple and Samsung become really apparent.
You mean like how they build their world around their products?
Exactly. Apple has that famous walled garden approach. Once you're in, it's hard to get out.
It is, because everything works so seamlessly together. I love how I can start writing an email on my iPhone and finish it on my MacBook.
Right, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Convenience and lock-in, it keeps you coming back for more.
So it's not just about selling one product, it's about creating a whole ecosystem that you become a part of.
Exactly, and that fosters brand loyalty.
Okay, what about Samsung?
Samsung, different approach.
Okay.
Openness and flexibility, they play nice with other platforms like Google and Microsoft.
Okay.
Their SmartThings platform even connects your home appliances.
So it's less about keeping you locked in and more about offering you choices.
Exactly. They want to make their technology work with whatever you already have. It's about creating a more open and interconnected world.
So it's Apple's closed ecosystem versus Samsung's open one. That's a pretty stark contrast.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Raises some interesting questions for consumers.
Like what?
Do you value that seamless integration and simplicity that comes with a closed ecosystem? Or do you prefer the freedom and flexibility of an open one?
These are tough choices. It's like two different philosophies of how technology should fit into our lives.
And what's fascinating is that both approaches seem to be working.
Yeah.
Apple and Samsung are incredibly successful even though they take such different paths.
So maybe there's no one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to marketing.
Exactly. The key is to understand your target audience and align your strategy with their needs and desires.
Okay, so we've looked at branding, pricing, advertising, and even how they build their ecosystems. What's the big takeaway here? What can we learn from these two tech giants?
I think the key takeaway here is there's no single right way to do marketing.
Okay.
Both Apple and Samsung have achieved remarkable success by choosing approaches that align with their brand identities and target audiences.
So it's not about copying what they do, but understanding the principles behind their success.
Exactly. Analyze what they're doing, see how it applies to your own goals,
Okay.
and then adapt and implement those principles in a way that's authentic to your own brand.
So even though they're competitors, there's a lot we can learn from both Apple and Samsung.
Absolutely. They both offer valuable insights into how to build a successful brand and connect with consumers in a meaningful way.
So what's the next step? What should we be thinking about as
Yeah.
we try to apply these lessons to our own businesses or even just our own lives as consumers?
Yeah. I think a big takeaway for me is like being intentional with your marketing.
Right.
You have to understand who you're trying to reach, what
Absolutely.
message will work for them.
And both companies do that really well
They do.
in different ways.
Yeah, like Apple's whole aspirational branding thing.
Yeah.
They've tacked into this like desire
Yeah.
to be part of something exclusive.
It's like a tribe
Yeah.
that people want to join.
Totally.
But it's not just about branding.
Right.
They back it up with a product
Yes.
that lives up to the hype.
And that's where the attention to detail comes in.
Wow.
Right? The design, the user experience, the ecosystem.
Yeah, you can tell they're obsessed with the details.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it resonates with customers.
And Samsung, they've taken a different route, but they're just as intentional
Yes, very much so.
about their marketing.
Yeah.
They're all about pushing the limits of technology,
Yeah, they're not afraid to be bold and experimental.
which appeals to a different person.
Different consumer for sure.
So you have the person who wants to be like on the cutting edge,
Exactly.
the latest and greatest.
Yeah, and they offer a wide range of products at different price points. So they're really trying to appeal to a lot of people.
So maybe the lesson is there's no one size fits all
There isn't.
approach to marketing.
Right.
You know?
Find what works for you,
Yeah, find what works for your brand.
for your brand, exactly.
Yeah. So the important thing is to be strategic. Think about the big picture.
Yes.
What kind of brand do you want?
What message are you sending
What message are you sending?
to the world?
Yeah, and how are you using your marketing to
Exactly.
make that connection?
To connect with your audience? These are good questions to think about.
Yeah.
Not just for business, but,
For anyone, really.
anyone
Yeah.
trying to build a personal brand or even just communicate effectively.
It's about understanding the power of stories.
Yeah.
Whether you're selling a product, service,
Mm-hmm.
or even just yourself.
Because in the end, people connect with stories.